Welcome to Simple Kicking with your host, James Harrison.
Well, that's a wrap for Chris Saylor's Underclassmen Invitational. This is year 2 that Simple Kicking charted the kicks and had the pro post out. What was interesting about this year's was it was very similar to last year's in that we had about 70% field goal percentage makes. And it was a lot of fun to be out there. A lot of kids were really enjoying the competition, and that's what it's all about. Now, on this show today, we're going to interview Caden Perry. He's a 2023 from St. John's, which is in Houston, Texas. And his story is about the process of learning about colleges, going to camps, getting recruited. And he has an incredible amount of poise and demeanor. And it was showed when he won the Last Man Standing competition on day 1. So enjoy this interview with Caden Perry. He's a kicker out of Houston, Texas in the class of 2023. And if you haven't already, check out the stats on the Simple Kicking app.
This camp was kind of like a coming out party for you. What was that like?
So I hadn't really ever heard of that before until my dad, on the way home and back to where we were spending the night, he ended up telling me about a story where he used to be a tennis player, and sectionals, a big camp, or not necessarily camp, but a big tournament that he played where he showed up unranked and ended up winning the tournament. So it's kind of a really big deal for him, coming from really out of left field for most people. And, it's kind of the similar thing happened to me at the Chris Saylor Underclassmen Invitational, starting the camp at 3.5 stars, 111th in the rankings. And I ended up winning the first day of camp in the field goal competition. But the important thing about the coming out party, it's not necessarily a fluke. It's just coming out showing really everyone what you can do. And it's not necessarily random to yourself, but random to maybe everyone else. And I say it's not random because the work that you put in and kind of everything that you've done to prepare yourself before going, in my case, to this camp, I just been preparing, all summer, all year, and this was kind of like the final camp that I was going to really show what I can do. And it wasn't a surprise to me that I did really well. It was just, more of me showing everyone what I can do, and that improvement was just so great from the year before.
All right. So we all know that you work hard, you keep that grind going. What do you do to keep working hard?
So try to kick not necessarily as much as possible, but whenever I can, and especially while staying safe, trying not to kick 100 balls every day, but doing the most I can where I can still be safe and be injury free. Trying to not necessarily kick so many balls that my leg falls off, but kick enough to where I can work on something specific, maybe ball contact, specifically from left hash, right hash, middle, kickoffs, and but every day kind of the normal routine for myself is just kicking 3 sets of 8 footballs, and then punting all those footballs back, trying to get a nice turnover spiral, working on the form of punting, because right now I'm still where I've been kicking for a long time really seriously, trying to improve my skills as a punter and make my combo stock as a player improve.
All right. So when you were warming up, you really weren't you weren't hitting that much, but when you were put under pressure, you definitely performed well.
Yes, so I ended up talking about that after camp with Chris Saylor himself, saying during my warm-ups and during my initial field goal session, I was still getting warm, kind of extending only 1 steps for the most part, getting into my full kicks for probably only the last 7 minutes out of the 20-minute session. And when he had his eyes on me and the people that were watching me kick, I was still, it was the first session and first leg swings of the day, so I ended up not kicking very well, a couple mishits, a couple good balls, but every once in a while a couple mishits, and going to the competition where the pressure's really on, where the kicks really matter, whereas before during the warm-ups the kicks don't matter as much, and then into the competition where I could really lock in after getting warm my 4 stations, and swinging through the ball, getting nice contact, and ended up kicking a nice clean ball, winning the competition.
Do you think that adrenaline helped you do that?
Yes, so where most people don't like the adrenaline or the rush that they get when they're kicking, I really like the rush and kind of the adrenaline that I get, because I feel that it juices myself up, and I can get where I'm a kicker who doesn't have as strong of a leg and I really can't kick the ball 65 yards. The adrenaline, all it does is help improve my long while maintaining that I can maintain to kick the ball straight.
Mm-hmm. So we all know it's about your mindset. So what is that like for you, the game in between your ears?
So the mindset that I have kicking the ball is obviously kick it the same way every time, but don't overthink things. Try not to think about where on training sessions and on my practice field kicking, where I'm thinking about one specific thing to fix, or I'm thinking kind of about a lot of things that I need to fix and change, and tweaking my kicking and making it slightly better. During competitions and when I'm really trying to show what I can do, I just have to think, let my body kind of control everything and forget about what my brain is trying to fix, correct, all that. I just have to do what I've been doing and let the practice show itself.
Mm-hmm. So we had the pro posts up. Do you think that those helped you become more accurate while you were kicking?
I really enjoyed having the pro posts up. I had kicked on pro posts before at Rice football fields, and those are the first times I ever used them, and kind of seeing those, and my dad and I kind of say during our practice, envisioning, because high school goalposts obviously start to shrink the higher up in the as your football level increases from college and even to the pros. So the pro posts will always stay, in the general, they're the same size no matter what level you're at. And if you can make it in between those very, super skinny posts, it doesn't matter what level you're kicking on, because you're kicking off the ground. That's the same in every level. And if you can make it through that 9-foot wide gap, then it doesn't matter how wide the goalposts are, because you're really only kicking through 9 feet.
Mm-hmm. So what about the app and being able to track all your kicks all day?
So I really like the app and the charting aspect of it, because going around to college camps, the coaches do almost the exact same. They do the exact same thing that the app does, where they'll chart kicks and they will go left hash, and they write all this information down. They keep all the data so that when they look back at your name, they know exactly what you did that day and how you performed. So, that kind of information is very helpful, and especially using the app, it allows you to practice in the sense that you're practicing the same way that the college coaches will look at you, from my experiences, and, practice how you play, and it'll all be the exact same.
So how do you feel about your performance and your ranking at the camp?
Well, first, I was just, the first thought about rankings and all that is, leave the rankings to the people who make those rankings and the people who change those rankings. All I can do is put my best work and my best performance forward, and let the work in the off season and all the practices and everything that I've done to prepare myself for these competitions. All I can do is ask to put my best performance forward, and let those people who decide where I stand compared to everyone else, they can do that on their own, because I can't change the rankings myself.
A huge thanks to Chris Saylor for allowing Simple Kicking to come out and chart the kicks on the app, where we had over 1,000 kicks charted throughout the week. A big thanks to my 2 interns, Aiden Webb and Finn Maher, for their excellent work out there on the field, helping getting set up. We had very long days, and it was a lot of fun. If you haven't already, download the Simple Kicking app on the App Store, or check us out at simplekicking.com to find out more about the Pro Post. I'm James Hairston, and I'll see you very soon.